Everyone is still asleep except my husband is awake, so I gotta keep my voice down. But it's September 4th, I'm 10 DPO. Let's look at these tests. I'm gonna look at the OPK first. Oh, by the way, before I look at these, look at this test I took yesterday. I took an easy at home at 8 p.m. yesterday with like no urine hold, and it came up crazy dark. And then so I took an OPK, a 1-step, and a gravity TX colon, and they're in my booklet, so I'll show you guys them in a bit. So here we go. Okay, that's a decently dark OPK for 10 DPO. Okay. I think I'm gonna look at the easy at home now. Okay. This is about as dark as the line was last night. That's a good line for 10 DPO. It's definitely darker than it was yesterday. This is gravity TX colon. Yeah. Yeah, you can start to see the line on this one. And the 1-step. Oh, wow. Whoa. That line got dark. You could hardly even see anything on this one yesterday. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 DPO to test. It is time to look at these. I am having such big time anxiety. I think I will look at, I can't even find the, is that it? Yeah. I don't even know which one to look at first. All right, here I go. Yes. Gravity TX colon now. Oh my god. My OPK is positive now, by the way. 11 DPO is when it got positive. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I'm so happy and I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved. If you're curious to know, my OPK is positive today on 11 DPO, and that's what the corresponding line looks like on an easy at home HCG. But that graviditetskollen test is a 25 MIU per milliliter. The other two pregnancy tests are 10 MIU per milliliter. And you can see it clearly on the 25 also. These tests are done processing. I just want to take a minute to remind myself that I'm testing with a new batch of Easy at Home test strips, and I have tested this batch out, and I've noticed that the lines that I get on the new batch are not as dark as the lines I was getting on the old batch. So, reminder to myself that if my Easy at Home lines up there aren't as dark as I expect them to be, maybe it's just because it's the new batch and the dye is just a little bit different. Okay. Let's look at the one step first. Ooh, yes. Yes. This is looking good. Now, in my head, looks to be darker than it was yesterday. Here is the graviditetskollen test. That looks darker, I think, than it was yesterday. Okay, I don't remember really what that one looked like. But I'm just gonna trust that it's darker than it was yesterday. I think I'm gonna look at the OPK next. It was about the same as it was yesterday. Maybe a little bit darker. This is about the same as it was yesterday. Okay, Easy at Home next. Please be a good line. This is about the same as it was yesterday. Which now gives me an absolute heart attack. Gotta remind myself, HCG doubles every 2 days. And this is a new batch of tests, and I know that it produces lines that are a little bit fainter than the other batch, so we're breathing, and we will wait and see what we get tomorrow. Hey guys, okay, so it is September 7th. We are 13 DPO. Oh, the constant belching, man. Anyway, we're going to look at these tests, and I went back. First of all, here's my BBT chart for right now. My lines are doing well. Everything is looking promising and healthy and okay. And then here is that overlay of my August 2021 chart versus my current chart. And it's so interesting to me. My charts continue to track each other in tandem. Like, they go down on the same day, they go up on the same day. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But I went through the archives of a lot of my pregnancy tests over my past 2 successful pregnancies. And I did notice something. In my 2018 pregnancy, it took that batch of Easy at Home test strips a long time for my lines to develop. And I
was going back and reading my diary because I was writing, and I was stressing out so much because like, oh my gosh, my lines were looking so good on these other brands. Why are they just not getting darker on this brand? It took forever for my lines to actually develop on those Easy at Home tests. I have not since had that experience with Easy at Home. I feel like my Easy at Home tests developed really good with Benny in 2021. I mean, I haven't had a problem with them with my chemical pregnancies, but I haven't had a chance to test long. I think maybe though that this new batch of tests I'm using might just be a little off. So I am reminding myself that if my Easy at Home test is still not as dark as I would hope and like it to be, I'm kind of going to just, as long as the other tests are developing appropriately, I'm kind of going to put stock in those and not let one single brand wig me out if I'm finding that my lines just happen to be fainter on this batch, even compared to a previous batch of Easy at Home. So I'm putting that out there in the ether in case anyone else is having a similar experience as me, and also to just hype myself up, down, whatever, calm myself down in case I don't get a good result, because yesterday super bummed me out. But when I was going through all my archives and all of my previous tests over my past couple successful pregnancies, I realized everything else seems to be developing just like it did in my other pregnancies. So I'm taking myself off the ledge, and now let's look at these tests. We are going to look at the one-step blue handle strip test first. Oh, yes. Okay, this is a good line. This definitely got darker from yesterday. That is a really dark line. I've been pretty impressed by these tests, actually, this time around. Okay, I'm feeling hopeful. That was a good note to start on. So, let's look at the green handle graviditetskollen test now. It kind of looks the same as it was yesterday, to be honest. This does have a higher chemical sensitivity, so maybe it's just going to take a little bit more time to darken up. But we'll have to compare that to the previous tests. It would have been nicer if it was just like a little bit darker, to be very honest. But OPK now. Oh, please show a difference from yesterday. Okay. Okay, this line definitely is darker than it was yesterday, not by much, but you can see that the test line is now darker than the control line, which it was not yesterday. And from going back and looking at all of my previous line progressions in Benny's pregnancy, this looks similar to what I remember my 13 DPO test looking like when I looked at those line progressions. So I will be putting up, obviously, picture comparisons here so you guys will see. This gives me hope though. That is good. The blue one-step test and the OPK are both showing a clear increase over yesterday, which is good. I just want, it doesn't need to be dark. I just want it to be somewhat noticeably different from what it's been the past 2 days. It might be a touch darker. I'm gonna have to look at my comparisons. You guys will see them over here. From my memory, that might be darker, although I'm in better natural lighting than I was yesterday. An important side note is the 11 DPO test is from an old batch of Easy at Home tests, and all the other ones are from my new batch. You can see that the control line is lighter than all the other ones on the 11 DPO test. So I just think that that test, it just shows lines a little differently than the new batches. I just wish it was a little less pink and a little more red wine colored. But hey, they're not going down, so I guess that's That's a plus side. I'll flip the camera around just so that you guys can see. Here's what I have going on here in this lighting. I am, all in all, pretty pleased with these lines, especially that one step. That one step is doing really well up there, and I'm really happy about the OPK. Because even from here, looking through my viewfinder, I can see that the test line has gotten darker than the control. Hey guys, it is the 8th of September. I'm finally 14 DPO, and that means I am 4 weeks pregnant today. So that's very exciting. We're going to take a look at these tests right now, and then I'm going to compile all these videos and throw it up onto my YouTube channel. And then assuming everything continues to look good, I'm going to come back and do a follow-up video on 2-week wait, symptoms and stuff. But for the time being, we're going to look at these tests right now in the same order. We'll do the one-step graviditetskollen, the OPK, and then easy at home. I don't know how good this urine sample is going to be. I tried not to drink too much last night before I went to bed, but I was pretty thirsty, and I had to pee so badly this morning, so it might be kind of diluted. I'm not sure. All right. This looks to be about the same as yesterday. I'm not having a heart attack. It's a bummer because the one step was the one test that I was getting like really good visible progressions on every day. So that's a little bit of a bummer to see. This looks to be about like what it was yesterday. I would say the OPK is slightly darker, maybe. I feel like the control line is slightly fainter today than it was yesterday. So maybe we have a little bit of a progression on the OPK. Oh, okay. We're ending on a good note then. Because this easy at home line is definitely darker than it was yesterday. At least I think it is. We'll have to compare it in the book, but I feel like this is a good line. I feel like this is a good line for easy at home. So, yeah, I actually think I have good progressions on my OPK and my easy at home test. The other two kind of just look to be about the same as they were yesterday. Let's just flip the camera around and then I will show my line progressions afterward. Okay, here are my lines right now. And for the record, I went back into my Instagram history and pulled up my line progression on Easy at Home for my 2018 pregnancy with my middle kid, my first son. And it turns out that I had a really tough time with getting the lines to darken up in that batch also. And then I wrote that it wasn't until I was 23 DPO before my test line got to just be the same darkness as the control line. So that made me feel a little bit more reassured about how I might expect my easy at home tests to progress this time around. It just seems to be that there could be variations in batches. But anyway, this is what I got right now. And let's skip now to the line progressions. Hey guys, it's me, your local crazy person. I'm just inserting this clip now because you know what? This is the reality of early pregnancy after loss. It turns you into a crazy person. And yes, it would be a heck of a lot healthier if I stopped testing every day, if I stopped overanalyzing lines and creating stress where there doesn't need to be stress. And honestly, stress isn't going to help the situation anyway, so why even bother? But this is just how it is for some of us. Sometimes the stress of not knowing is more than the stress of knowing. Anyway,
I decided to take another round of tests. It's now just around lunchtime, so I guess this would be second morning urine. I just couldn't help when I was looking at my lines in my booklet. They just, like, a couple of the lines looked lighter than they were yesterday, and I just couldn't leave it alone. And I just kept thinking maybe my first morning urine was a little bit more diluted than I would have liked it to be. So I just decided on a whim to take a couple more tests now, and I think they look actually quite a lot better now than they did just with my first morning urine, so I'm going to show you them now. Seriously, like, the only reason I'm including any of these is because I know there are women out there who can relate to me, and I know this is so much of a challenge. And maybe if you took tests with first morning urine and you were really stressing out about how they looked, maybe it would be worth it to just try to test again with second morning urine. Maybe your overnight urine was a little more diluted, etc. But I am going to show you guys what these tests look like in comparison to the ones that I took this morning in just a second. But this is the one step and the easy at home. I only have 2 more of the green handle tests, so I didn't want to burn one now. Well, I'm going to go put these in my book, and then I'll show you guys the results. Okay guys, here are my line progressions for easy at home. This bottom test is from first morning urine this morning, and honestly, like, I know we're splitting hairs, but that bottom test does look slightly darker than the top test. So, and these are all dry now, so they should be pretty comparable. But here is the test I took just now. And while it's fresh, so you can't really fully compare it, I do think that if you look at the relative line strength between the test and control line, I do think this test line will probably dry darker than what this one did. What do you guys think? This feels really good. This feels like a good 14 DPO test on easy at home. And in the big picture, I feel like that's a really nice, steady, slow and steady strength increase. I did not take a second morning urine test, so this is my first morning urine test, and you can see, like, this line is obviously lighter than that line from yesterday. I just don't want to waste. Yeah, it looks like I only have one more left. I only have one more of the green handle test left, and I just don't want to waste it right now. I want to wait until tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see and trust that it was because my urine sample this morning was diluted. Now here are the 1 steps, and again, you can see that my first morning urine test is lighter than yesterday's test. However, when I insert the test I just took now, again, I think that looking at the relative line strengths between these two, I feel like this test line is probably going to dry darker than this one did. And then lastly, my OPK. Like, now, to be fair, when I looked at my OPK line progressions in my last pregnancy, once it got to be a bit of a dye stealer, it didn't get, like, dramatically darker after that. And I think I stopped even testing OPKs at 15 DPO last time, so I don't even have that much of a history or like a line comparison to compare it to. But here's the test I took just now. And again, it looks a little bit more of the same. And I just think it's a case of, like, it's going to take many, many, many more days for these lines to progress in the same way that a pregnancy test would. So anyway, those are my line progressions, and we're going to stop this video now, and then when I come back in my next video, I'll show you guys if I continue to test. I don't know. This has been a little bit stressful, and I don't know when I'm going to reach that point where it's doing more harm than good, the stress versus mitigating the stress. So I don't know. Knowing me, I'll probably continue to test daily and fret over it here and there, but whatever I do end up taking in terms of tests, I'll show you guys in my next video.